Now, Constantine started the process and was credited for the process of what became a merger of empire and church. He didn't do it single-handedly, but he started the process. And he's credited largely with the process of making Christianity a global religion because he got the process going. Between 312 AD and 380 AD, Christianity really started to gain prominence in the empire. The government, the Roman Empire, and its treasury started to invest in churches or buildings where people that did sacrifices would, instead of sacrificing Roman gods, would now sacrifice to the god of Constantine. One of the benefits of being under significant persecution was that how much do you think you had to worry about counterfeit faith when the church was under severe persecution among believers? Not a whole lot. Yeah, people weren't really volunteering to be, executed for confessing Jesus Christ. How much do you think you had to worry about counterfeit once the state adopted Christianity, and to get the best bureaucratic jobs, to get the most money, and just to get the most attention? Basically, the church was the first lobbyist. It's the first K Street on D.C. And so how much do you think you had to worry about the idea of counterfeit faith after Christianity became the religion of the greatest empire on earth? Yeah, the phenomenon of counterfeit faith became very, very real. And we know that counterfeit is a real, Jesus taught us about. There's going to be wheat and tares. There's going to be things that look like what they say they are, but they're not going to be legit. They're going to be posers. Between 312 and 380, the idea of Christendom began. Christendom is this idea of Christianity becoming not only a church, but also an empire. And in 380, that really was the culmination of Christendom, because the Edict of Milan began with 313 AD, where Christianity became tolerated, and was consummated in 380 under the Edict of Thessalonica, where the Roman Empire made Christianity the only legal religion of the empire. Officially, long after Constantine died, but in his footsteps, the state religion. Israel was a theocracy. But why was it a theocracy?
It was God's.
The law of Moses. The Bible commanded it. The Bible commanded a theocracy. A theocracy. It's right here. That's why it existed. It's in your Bible. What happened to the law of Moses?
It is finished.
It's done. It's done. Fulfilled. When we looked at the ecclesia, where did we learn about the theocracy of the church? There is none. There is none. There is none. In fact, the manufacture of a theocracy using the church is against the teaching of Jesus Christ. The ecclesia, think ecclesia, the real disciples of Jesus Christ, not what the world says is church, what the master says is his ecclesia, his born-again, blood-bought, spirit-filled, that called-out assembly out of the world of Jew and Gentile. So the reason Israel was a theocracy was because your Bible commanded it. Your Bible commanded it. The law of Moses came to an end and is no more. So quickly, churchy and state became one. The most influential people in the empire became members of church. The full notion of Christendom, a political world entirely dominated by Christianity, was slow to take shape, but in 380 it ultimately did, with the Edict of Thessalonica. And at the same time, the church and the state had to figure out what they're going to do with Israel, Jews. And they began to conclude that they were rejected by Jesus Christ and may have to leave. Constantine's sons and successors closed temples, destroyed idols, making more severe laws, making anything contrary to Christianity quite illegal. So before Constantine's conversion in 312 AD, Christianity scarcely imagined a political life. But afterwards, Christianity undertook to govern and shaping political institutions of the empire. And this has shaped world history until this day. With the Christianization of most of the population, and also, the church did undergo, kind of like Islam, a forced Christianization of people groups, not in the same bloodthirstiness as Islam, but close, in order to make people members of the state religion. And ultimately, it became a crime to marry Jews or marry pagans, and it became very problematic. Now, with the merger of state and church did everyone want to just get rid of their gods because the state said so?
No.
No. So how do you think the church dealt with that?
Bring some of them in.
Just put Christian names on these gods. And, instead of Mercury, or make it St. Anthony. Instead of Isis, Mary. That's the way to get really, these people are uneducated, they want to continue to worship their gods, we got to Christianize them somehow. The idea of the primitive state church did include a lot of Roman paganism as part of it. And some would argue even today. Now, another major advent, along with the merger of state and church, was and this, don't understate this is a big deal, the consumption of Greek philosophy. The consumption of Greek philosophy as a Christian theology. After the church took on a role as official religion in the Roman Empire, there were still a lot of pagans that thought, look, this is crazy, these ideas, this Jewish freaking Israel becoming a god. What about our gods? What about our traditions? And they started to look more and more to Greece. Rome is just a successor to Greece. The Roman gods are the Greek gods. Instead of Zeus, you have Jupiter. So all Rome did is take Greek culture and make it their own. That's so Greek philosophy was very much a part of Rome and Roman paganism. Greek philosophy, our Western tradition begins, most scholars in any university will tell you, with Socrates. Oh God, this is a Bible study, isn't it? Why are you boring me with Socrates? Well, it's important to understand what church is. Socrates, 400 years before Jesus Christ was even born, taught in Athens, began to talk about ideas that were transcended the idea of gods. Good, evil, right, wrong, light, darkness. So, although Socrates never wrote a book, he had a student that wrote a lot. And that student's name was Plato. And he actually wrote a book called The Republic, which our founding founders used a lot of to form the United States of America. Plato and Plato's student, Aristotle, really formed, and they all lived centuries before Jesus was born, what is core to our Western thought today, ideas of rhetoric, logic, deduction, reason, and also to this idea of light and darkness, so dualism, a school of Greek philosophy, which started with Plato, which came later on during the Roman Empire, known as Neoplatonism, really started to look at the natural world as being evil. In other words, what you see is not real. This is Greek philosophy, and it's actually not good. What's really going on is something you can't see, and that is good, light and darkness. And so the natural world became very suspect in Greek philosophy. Christian theologians started to drink from the well of Greek philosophy, and now in an effort to try to win pagans over. Now, does anyone know what the road to hell is paved with?
Good intentions.
Yeah, good intentions. And so it was well intended. The idea was, let's get pagans to really think about Christianity as something rational and reasonable. But unfortunately, Greek philosophy became a great deal part of Christian theology up until today as part of that process.